Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Star Wars Meg. How are you guys doing today? So today I have another update regarding the Mandalorian Season 2 for you, and there's a lot of things to get through. Before I get into it guys, please may I ask you to hit like on this video, to subscribe to my channel if you're new, and also please consider becoming a patron of mine on Patreon. For just $2 a month you can get exclusive access to content that's not found here on YouTube. But without further ado, let's get back to the video. So our first piece of news comes from Games Radar, and they've been speaking about the potential of Ezra returning to Star Wars in The Mandalorian Season 2, but this can now be discredited. You see, over the last 24 hours, Rahul Kohli, who is the iZombie actor, seemingly teased an appearance in the upcoming season of the Disney Plus series, writing on Twitter, "I've gone into the Lothal orphan, Force-sensitive, trained by Kanan Jarrus kind of shape for no particular reason." A lot of fans thought this to mean that Ezra might be in Season 2 because obviously he comes from Lothal, but it's now been confirmed that this is not the case. The Mandalorian Season 2 will be packed in and of itself, and with half a dozen already iconic Star Wars characters expected to appear in the series, Ezra Bridger would have been perhaps too much, says Games Radar. Unfortunately though, after Games Radar Plus ran the initial story, Kohli let us know that he was simply quote-unquote goofing around, saying once again that he's not Ezra Bridger and that he has no link to the Mandalorian Season 2's characters. Dave Filoni has previously confirmed that Ezra and Grand Admiral Thrawn survived the series finale, which involves a pretty sketchy hyperspace jump. Should Ahsoka and Sabine not be the Mandalorian series regulars and potentially have a spin-off series one day, then we'll finally learn Ezra's fate, and perhaps Disney will give Kohli the call he's been waiting for. The Mandalorian Season 2 is set to debut on Disney Plus on October 30th. Returning cast members include Pedro Pascal as Din Djarin, Carl Weathers as Greef Karga, Gina Carano as Cara Dune, and Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon. So to put it quite simply, all of the hype for Ezra Bridger was just a rumour, and people just assumed that because an actor made a reference to a Star Wars Rebels character, then automatically they assumed he'd appear in The Mandalorian Season 2. While it's not been confirmed nor discredited that we'll get Ezra in Season 2, this specific article has no imposition on the character appearing. It could turn out that we will get Ezra, because Sabine Wren's arc does actually overlap with Ahsoka's and Ezra, but we just don't know at this stage if he will appear or not. But the rumours going round about what Kohli said on Twitter is now been completely disproven. So now we turn on to more exciting news, and this one is about Temuera Morrison, who is going to play Boba Fett in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. So a few days ago it was confirmed through the actor's CV that he would be appearing in The Mandalorian, but it wasn't so much known the kind of role he would have. Well, it turns out, and this is a big piece of news for all Star Wars fans of the original trilogy and of Boba Fett in general, he will be playing a more major role than we thought. The New Zealand actor is well known for his role as clone origin and bounty hunter Jango Fett in the Star Wars prequels, but it's widely been speculated he would at some point return in the Star Wars universe to portray his own clone son Boba, the bounty hunter supposedly swallowed in the Sarlacc pit in Return of the Jedi, who eventually survived. Some thought that he would appear in a future season, while others insisted he already had a cameo in Season 1 as the mysterious figure who appeared after Fennec Shand is left for dead. However, it appears his first live-action appearance as Boba Fett is incoming, as his agency updated the actor's CV before the release of the show, as noticed by a user on Reddit. While we knew Boba Fett was going to appear previously, we didn't know how significant the role would be or if it would just be a small cameo or Easter egg, but now we know that his role will be major because on the resume, Morrison is listed as appearing in The Mandalorian under various directors, meaning that he will appear in multiple episodes. Considering the rotating directing crew of the series, this implies that Boba could become a recurring part of another Mandalorian story within Season 2. So this is really exciting news, guys. We know that Boba Fett will not only be appearing in The Mandalorian Season 2, but it's very likely that he will appear in multiple episodes being directed by an array of different directors. So let me carry on with this article, which states that the agency has recently pulled the credit entirely from the website. Putting upcoming projects on a CV is common practice, so having a role revoked may mean that the eagle-eyed fans who spotted the addition may have exposed too much, and they didn't want other fans getting their eyes on this. But you know what the Star Wars fandom is like. When one thing spreads, it spreads fast and everyone's aware of it. Just think back to the leaks of The Rise of Skywalker. A lot of people got their hands on it, and by the time that the actual film came out in theaters, I would say a great deal of Star Wars fans already knew the plot. With The Mandalorian's episodic nature, this probably means Boba will not be a one-shot arc like guest stars we saw in Season 1, and will lend a hand to the titular Mandalorian's overarching search for the Jedi Sorcerers, or perhaps go on an adventure himself over the course of the season and need some assistance from Baby Yoda. In a few videos I've actually specified the ways I think Boba Fett will return, and I dedicated an entire video to that subject, so please do go check that one out. So let's carry on with this article. While Boba Fett's appearance in The Mandalorian Season 2 comes as no surprise, the fact that the agency felt the need to take down the credit entirely is too conspicuous to not mean Boba will play a major role, and more so than previously thought. Perhaps if they left it up, it would just be passed off as an agency jumping the gun on some minor news, but this seems like Boba Fett will find his way out of the pit and into Disney Plus in a big way. I'm super hyped about this. Boba Fett was one of my favourite characters from the original trilogy, and to some extent the prequels, because even though we only saw him as a kid, you kind of can't help but think of the adult version of him that we saw in Return of the Jedi, released 19 years before. Before we get to another serious piece of news about Star Wars, I just want to say at this point that Adidas has dropped their own Star Wars Boba Fett top 10 high sneakers, and that's pretty funny and, you know, very, very appropriate considering The Mandalorian Season 2 drops just over 1 month away. We now shift our eyes to something that's really, really minor and really, really significant at the same time. So a couple of days ago, Star Wars in their hashtag Wednesday Wisdom tweeted a quote from Ahsoka Tano, and they said, "In my life, when you find people who need your help, you help them no matter what." And they wrote above that quote from the fearless and heroic Ahsoka Tano, "Does this mean anything?" Well, a lot of fans seem to think so, and while it's probably just absolutely nothing, do bear in mind the fact that the trailer producer at Disney did put out just a simple gif of Baby Yoda the night before the trailer dropped for Season 2. So, you know, this might be suggesting something that Ahsoka will appear in Season 2. I like to keep my hopes up and say it will, but again, you know, this could be absolutely banal and mean absolutely nothing. So, you know, don't misquote me or say, you know, I'm saying it's for certain. It's not. And our final piece of news about The Mandalorian Season 2 is about Gamorreans. I was going to make an entire video dedicated to everything you need to know about Gamorreans, but I thought I may as well include this in the news segment so that I could speak to you guys about what I think you need to know about Gamorreans in a different context to how I normally would do Star Wars Explained videos. You see, usually I put up Star Wars Explained videos primarily on my Patreon page, but I wanted to talk about Gamorreans in a general context because I think they're a fascinating creature, and personally they were one of my favourite characters in Star Wars when I saw the original trilogy when I was very young. So in the trailer for Season 2 we see two Gamorreans fighting, and it got me really hyped because we haven't seen Gamorreans very often outside of, you know, Return of the Jedi. So it was nice to see them recreated and reimagined in the imagination of Jon Favreau, who really changed up the design with the production team at Lucasfilm. So let's speak about why they're important for Season 2 and a little bit about their backstory. So Gamorreans were a sentient species of green-skinned, pig-like humanoids that hailed from the outer rim planet of Gamorre. They grouped themselves in clans, each of which was led by a warlord and a clan matron. A number of Gamorrean guards were employed by the crime lord Jabba the Hutt throughout his career. A species of tall, strong bipeds, the Gamorreans had porcine traits like an upturned, large-nostrilled, cartilaginous snout, jowls and upturned tusks. Their hulking bodies were covered in a green or rarely pink, thick and hairless skin. They had 5 digits on every extremity, each sporting a hard nail. So let's talk about why they're important for Season 2. We see two Gamorreans fighting at the end of the trailer, and it's very likely that they are now owned by a different clan member, someone very important, a kind of Jabba the Hutt-esque clan leader or a gangster or something like that, and I think he owns them. Remember that Gamorreans were not a very intelligent species, and they were generally used as guards or slaves or that kind of thing. Gamorreans had a clan-based society within and of themselves. Each clan was ruled by a female leader, which, as I said earlier, was the clan matron, and a male leader, the warlord. Although the sows farmed and hunted while boars waged wars, the Gamorrean society was in fact a matriarchy. Indeed, a warlord held his position by way of marriage to a matron rather than force, although matrons did make their selections based on the boar's combat skills. Gamorreans liked war, and they saw it as something glorious and to be celebrated, especially violent clashes which were rife between them. So I think the Gamorreans we see at the end of the trailer for Season 2 of The Mandalorian are basically engaging in what's an exhibition match that's been staged by a clan leader who clearly owns that venue that we see. I think it'll be much more important in context, and when we have more information when starting to watch season 2 after October 30th, everything will make more sense in context. That is all I have for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed my video. Please give me a big fat like if you did, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and like I said earlier, please consider becoming a patron of mine on Patreon. I have 2 tiers. I have a $2 tier where you can help to support my channel and get occasional content, and a $10 tier where you get exclusive Star Wars Explained videos, megasodes, and much more. So do stay tuned for what I have on this channel coming up, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Star Wars Meg. Have a fantastic rest of the day no matter where you are in the galaxy. Have a good one.